Hi guys, it's John here again. Another video. I'm talking to Shannon from America. I'm not sure what part of America, but from America. We've been friends on Facebook for a couple of years. I think for a paranormal group, if I remember right, a few years ago. I think it might have been you sharing a post on there or a video on there, and I've sort of talked from there. I think came from there then. I think if I'm right.
Absolutely. I think it was proof of life.
Yeah. Oh, is it the proof of life after death?
Yes, it
Facebook
was. It was
group.
a proof
Yes, I
of
know.
life after death. Yes,
Ah,
yes.
right. That's right. Didn't I try and
So,
enhance the video you put on there or something? Did I? Did I something like that? Try and make it bigger or something? I can't remember now. Something like that.
um, trying to enhance my
Oh,
video. Sorry. There it goes. I have struggled to get this background gone.
all right. Okay.
So that's going to be a little difficult. So I hope this is okay. Do we
Yeah,
want
it's fine.
to?
Yeah, as long as you're
Okay.
fine.
Okay.
So, could you tell me? I know you're a very spiritual person because obviously, seeing your posts on Facebook, I know obviously can see that you are, and which is really nice. So, can you remember your first experience in the spiritual sort of realm? Things that happened to you, anything? Maybe when you were younger, or anything?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. This has been, I think, in fact, I was very, very small. I remember seeing three beings come to me at 3 years old. And I won't tell the whole story, but I will tell some of that,
All
where I
right.
was instructed to go to the window. And we lived in a two-story house, and they call them split levels. I don't know if they call them there that there, but
Yeah.
it was a split level. And they instructed me to bring a little chair up to the window because I was too small. I couldn't look out the window. I could barely reach up to the rim.
Yeah.
So I pulled a little chair to the window and just waited and waited and waited and it just seemed like it was a long time. And then all of a sudden it seemed like there was this explosion in the sky, like a firework.
All right.
And all the stars started to pour out of the sky.
Mm.
And these two beings started to come through, and they seemed really tiny, like this, like
Yeah.
they were coming from afar, and they were on this blue beam, and they literally just came closer, 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 until they stood over the trees. And it was two males and a female,
Wow.
which in my little mind I understood to be my Heavenly Father and Jesus Christ. That's who I
Yeah.
understood it to be. And they held a baby, and they didn't use their mouths,
All right.
and the feeling was just intense. And they said to me, "This one is for you." And the moment lasted for I don't even know how long.
All right.
Um, that plays later on in my life, but this
Yeah.
this story is a little too long to tell at this moment. I can move on to something else.
Right.
But that definitely came to fruition later on in my life. So that's
Oh,
that's really where it started. And then from there, I used to leave my body and fly around my room, but I never realized that I didn't go from point A to point B
yeah.
where I knew I was leaving my body.
Mm.
And I would fly all over my room and fly all over the backyard. And then one day I was coming down the stairs, hovering down the stairs, and I thought, wow, what would happen if I fell? And then from that point forward, because I told myself that I had fear,
Yeah.
I couldn't do it anymore. And
All
then that
right.
was it. Yeah, that was it. But the time when I really started to put the gifts into play, and I had some really funny experiences growing up too, like dating and boyfriends that recognized some of my abilities that were scared to death, which is kind of funny because it just is. Because people fear what they don't understand.
Yeah.
But when I really realized that the gifts were at play was I was a very staunch Mormon. I
Right.
grew up Mormon, and I come down through that lineage. In fact, my grandfather was a great my great great grandfather was the prophet of the church, and they seem to kind of have some abilities too. And I have some
Yeah.
cousins that are crazy gifted, and both of my sisters are as well. In fact, one of them is a healer, and the other one does very much what I do, which is not mediumship, but she's a really good psychic,
Right.
and dreamer. But anyway, I was married and I had two kids, and I was too busy to think about all this stuff. And I ran into this lady, I think in the mall. She was a much older lady than I. I was only 25. And we ended up talking. She gave me her card and she said, "You should come over to my house." I don't even remember what the context was, but it had something to do with spirituality. We ended up being really good friends,
Mm.
and she was noticing my gifts. So she was my mentor. Her name is Judy Neld,
Mm.
and she was one of my mentors. And then the other one was Anne Fry. They both lived in Idaho, and Anne Fry was a really good medium.
Right.
And her spirit guides were telling her, "You need to help this little girl. You know, she's got gifts." And so they did that. They helped develop me just by putting me in situations where I could practice my gifts. And so one day I was driving home from wherever, and all of a sudden I had someone speak to me, and I recognized that as my spiritual mother, like a heavenly mother. And when she came through to me, and I was driving, mind you, it was really strong, and you know it when you know it. You know it when you know it. And she said, "You know you can channel, don't you?
Mm.
You know you can connect hearts, don't you, from one side to the other?" It was like a question posed to me. And being young and spry, I said, "Wow, I can? Okay, well, I'm going to try this." So I
Mm.
got home and I called my friend Judy and I told her what happened. And she got really excited and she said, "Well, why don't you come over and let's put together a channeling session?" And I
Yeah.
think what she called some kind of a party. I don't know. But there were 18 people there that day, including my husband. And it was kind of scary, to be honest, because
Mm.
I didn't know what I was doing. And so we're all on this back porch. It was an enclosed porch. It was a beautiful night. And everybody knows that we're getting ready to do this, yet everybody knows that I'm new at this, and everybody is just so kind. And so I just closed my eyes and started asking, because at this point I did have a really good connection with my spirit guide, and I was asking, "Okay, tell me what to do." All right. So everybody held hands and we closed eyes. And I said, "Okay, I'm just going to be quiet." It was really funny because the conversation between me and the spirit guide was kind of funny. Now what? Okay, now
Mm.
what? And so anyway, closed eyes, and some time went by. And all of a sudden I kept hearing this annoyance, this as if somebody was talking to the another person across the room. So I kept my eyes closed and I said, "Hey, can you guys be quiet? Can you not talk while I'm trying to hone in on this?" And then someone said, "No one's talking, Shannon. It's time."
Wow.
And yes, yes, and um, the interesting part is I'm a pretty, I don't know, I've pretty much grown out of the excitement. You know, when you're a kid and
Mm.
something exciting and mysterious happens and you just kind of jump out of your seat. Well, ironically, at this point, I actually didn't. It was really good that I kept my stance,
Yeah.
because in mediumship, you have to do that. You have to be calm and step outside of yourself. And I did that with the help of whatever help was helping me from above. And
Mm.
so from that point forward, it looked like there was like a black nylon. So if you took a black nylon and you pressed your face through it,
Mm-hmm.
you would start to see more and more features. So this started to happen. I started seeing faces pressing through the veil. And then they would tell me, "I used to own this. My favorite thing was that." And they would go on and on and on about features about themselves. John, my very first experience of being a medium, I hit every 18 people. I had 18 people come through for
Ooh,
18 people
wow.
that were there, including my husband. And at that time, my husband was not getting along with his mom,
Mm,
and there was some family issues there. But his grandmother came through. Even my grandmother came through. And that was the funny part because first his grandma came through
mm,
and she wanted to talk to him, but I allowed my own fears of what was happening on earth get in the way. And that's really
yeah,
sad. I wish now that I'm speaking about it, I should go back and fix that. But I was too afraid to talk to her at that time, and because I felt like it was going to interrupt everything else, which it would have, right?
yeah,
But at least she was there, and I told my husband that she was there. I'd never seen her before. I didn't know who she was, and I was able to identify her through my husband. But then my grandma came through, and that was the funny part because when she came through, so she died when I was 23, and she was the wife of the son of the prophet of the church. Okay. And she was very staunch Mormon, nice lady, right? Just wonderful lady. My favorite thing, my favorite memory of her is ice cream and peanut butter and jelly
mm,
sandwiches at her house. And she always wore a dress and slip-on shoes, it seemed. Um, and a wig, right? But when she showed up to me, she had this beautiful dark hair. Oh, she used to be a model, and I didn't know this about her, but when she came through, just beautiful. And she was wagging her finger at me like this, like, "What are you doing? Shame on you." And the funny part about that is later on I learned is that sometimes when they pass over, they still kind of have that
yeah,
because time is different there. Time stands still. There is no time. And just because you cross over doesn't mean that you're a genius and you're back to your spiritual uh who we were before we got here. It
yeah,
it takes some time to kind of download and unload everything that we took on here because this is a huge mission. This is a big mission. And really terrible things can happen to us. And on purpose, we choose that,
yeah,
whether we like it or not. And in her case, yeah, she had some things, some bad things. She lost some people, sadly, to
mm.
death, of course. But yeah, that's a big long entry into what how my life started out and how I got into this.
Funny you said about channeling. A few weeks ago, I interviewed a oracle lady, Karma from America again, and she asked me. She said, explained that she's a challenger. She asked me, channeler, I should say, not challenger, and she asked me, "Am I a challenger?" Can't even say it. Channeler, channeler,
Channeler,
yeah. And
a
we were
medium
talking,
channeler.
channeler, yeah. We were talking on Discord, and I tried to type in twice. No, I'm not a channeler. And both times I wrote that
Yes,
I was. Twice I think, what's happening? I tried to write and he wouldn't let me write what I wanted to write. And then I realised after, I'm a healer. Of course I'm a channeler of a different type, maybe to her, to what she is. But of course I am in a different way. That's exactly because it's not all coming from me, obviously, and it's not, you know. And I just remembered about it now when you said about that. But
I
I,
think that's wonderful. And you know what spirit will do? They'll do exactly that.
yeah,
That wasn't you. Well, they were probably going through you saying, yes, you are, or they'll do it for you.
yeah. And I'm trying to help. There's a woman who is a daughter of a friend that we know she's a brilliant mind. She was a surgeon. She was absolutely really gifted, and she was working away. And I don't know the full story, but she was abused. Something happened, and it really affected her mentally. You know, she's really in a bad way after it. So I talking to a friend of mine who lives close to me. It's actually about only 100 yards from where I live. He's a medium, a healer, some myself. And I was talking to him about it. I said, I want to help her. I said, but I really want to help her. I feel I need to try and help. And he said, well, do it. He said, ask her spirit for permission and do it. He said, speak to the source. Speak his exact words to me now. And he said, I'll help as well. He said, I'll help as well. It'll be like a joint. He said, healing. We'll all try and help her. So that's the latest like sort of project we've got on the side now to try and help this lady because I feel so sorry for her. You know, her life is ruined by whatever happened to her, tragic event that happened to
Yeah.
her, and so now we're
Oh,
all trying. A group of us are trying to help her. Even though I don't know her, never met her, and I probably never will. That doesn't matter. It's still affecting me the fact that her life is ruined in the way it has been, and hopefully we can turn it around. Hopefully. So that's the latest thing we're trying to do.
that's so
Yeah,
amazing. Not a lot of people are very enlightened like that, and that you feel the call, and even though you don't know her, we're
yeah,
all one.
yeah. Of course.
And um, yeah, good for you. That's really exciting. That's
Yeah,
really exciting. I
but
think that there will be a good turnaround, and even if there's not
yeah,
listening to that call, there's purpose in that. You
yeah,
may shift her consciousness. Who
yeah.
knows?
Who knows? Yeah, yeah. That's it.
Right.
Um, and as far as I'm not a medium. I don't know if I, but I have had people come through to me, friends and stuff. I've come through from the other side. One came
Mm,
through to me, and this is going to be. Some people might not like this, but I don't know. I was driving my car, and a friend of mine a few years ago, he hung himself, and I found out through pure coincidence a few years after. Went into a shop, talking to a person, random person, and she said, "Oh, I'm good. I'm good friends with his wife." I said, "All right." I said, I've been. It's torn me apart ever since. I thought, I wonder what happened, why it led to this. And apparently, he was suffering with depression, and none of us knew. Okay, so step back to when I was in my car. He just came through in my head to me, showed me what happened. He showed me what the image. Only way I could describe it, it was like a well of despair. He said I fell into a well of despair, and I couldn't get out. He said, and this is why he did what he
mhm,
did. And
mhm.
it was like, whoa. And I was driving the car, and I thought, what the? And it made total sense, and I've been at peace about the whole situation since. But I was also shown afterwards that there's always a lifeline there, but most people don't see it because there's so much within their despair. They don't see there's like a rope there to get out of it. There is a way out, always a way out, but most are too um, I don't know, too upset to see it. Maybe I don't know what the word is. Too thing to see it at the time, but again, that's one of the another chap came through recently who passed away, and he was suffered with ill health and stuff. Really good friend of mine, and he just showed me he was on like this zigzag path of healing. That's what he showed me he was
Mhm,
at, and
mhm.
and yeah, so that was that. But again, that came through the day that I was told he passed away. He came through straight away to me, but because I was in shock. It took me a day before I realised what I'd actually seen, and then I realised what it was. So anyway, get
That's
back to you.
really
Sorry.
neat. I am so glad that you had that
Yeah,
experience.
yeah. I tend to not.
And
I shouldn't do that really. I tend to like share my own stories when I'm talking to people. I should just be quiet and let everyone speak.
no,
But
no, no, that's totally fine.
but I think it's
Uh, Let me tell you about, do you mind if I kind of give you a little insight on that?
yeah, fine, totally.
Okay, so I did feel something come in just as you were talking,
Right.
right up here.
Okay.
Now it's not about your friend, but what I
Okay.
want to, I don't know, I just feel like they're telling me you are in training, and that's why
Okay.
you're
Makes
inspired to
sense. Yeah.
do this. Are
Okay.
they right? Yes?
Okay. Yeah. Makes sense. Yeah.
Um, so being a medium, you're not always going to get everything correct. They're going to use your knowledge that you have already.
Right. I
And
see.
so, some of these young people that come through want to be big stars. I kind of just, I don't know. It worries me because mediumship is holy.
Yeah.
It's very sacred, and we're messing with people's lives. That's really what it is. I
Yeah.
mean,
Cool.
we have to be tender and kind and connect hearts from the other side. And I'm a big fan of James Van Prague. In fact, he's literally been my teacher.
Yeah.
Um, I've never met him, but I've taken some classes from him just to solidify my gift and to learn more. Like, you can always learn more, right?
Yeah.
It never ends. Nobody's Nobody's all learned. We're always learning, which is the most amazing part of even being a soul. But when we're having a mediumship experience like what you're having, what
Yeah,
I've also learned too is when my daughter passed away, there are certain lines, I'll call them lifelines,
yeah,
that we create while we're alive. And if you do not create those while you're alive with your loved ones,
yeah.
then it's going to be harder for them to come through to you. Not
All
only is
right.
it very difficult for them to come through to you through grief,
Yeah,
because vibration rises up, and that's our vibration. We have to actually raise our vibration
yeah,
to get that message. And they have to work hard to come down because they're not solid anymore.
yeah.
They're energy. And
Oh, I
the
see.
energy that they're in is really high paced, and then it's all love, right?
Yeah.
So
Mm.
if when your friend came through to you, I just want to ask you, were you in a state of peace? Were you kind of doing something that you were
Um,
driving, right?
I was actually on Facebook, and it came up with a post that he passed away, and I was like, whoa! And it knocked me for six, and then the image, what he was showing me about his healing, came through at the same
Okay.
time. But I say it took a day before I was synced to see it. So yeah, I was actually on
Okay.
Facebook. I know it was, yeah,
Yeah. Okay. So you're saying you were on Facebook when he
yeah.
came through
I
to
was
you?
like, you scroll
Okay.
through Facebook, you know. I was just,
Right.
and it
Right.
just happened to.
But do you realize what scrolling is? You're in a meditative state.
All
So
right.
you were in a state of mind. So I just want to bring that to you and help you
Okay.
understand that, you know, some people have a really strong mediumship
Right.
skills, and others, we all need to practice. And
Yeah.
that's okay. Practicing is really good. But my point is that there's strong lines that we create with our loved ones
Yeah.
that they can kind of ride on like a highway, right?
Okay.
And the lines that I created, so my daughter passed away in 2020, and this
Yeah.
is how you and I met.
Yeah.
Um, but anyway, prior to that, I did 10 free mediumship sessions
Yeah.
for people, not even thinking about it. I do that a lot. Not even thinking about it.
Yeah.
And one lady I never did anything for, but all 10 of those people, my daughter was a medium also. She had some
Really.
extraordinary gifts. She was a
Wow.
healer too.
Cool.
But I think the gift that she had and was able to use here, she didn't practice it, but she practiced it with other people.
Yeah.
She was able to go through the people that I served
Hmm.
on that highway, that connection,
Yeah.
and give me a message because I was so distraught, like a child. Oh
Yeah.
my word.
I know.
And then the way it happened,
Hmm.
just devastating that she was able to take that highway of information and connect with those people, and she's a strong spirit. Every person was like had something amazing to
Hmm.
say. She even showed up as an apparition in front of two people.
Wow.
Um, and the rest were dreams except for one other. And she shot through another lady right through the funeral when we were at the funeral. And she'd never had an experience like that before. And she waited until the very end to come and tell me about it. But anyway, um, I feel like I got off task here because my mind is just going. But back to you, and I'll get back to that part. That those connections are really good with loved ones. And so when you're getting ready to go into a mediumship
Hmm.
session, it takes some prep and
Yeah.
running your energy, like running through all the chakras and cleansing yourself and grounding.
Yeah.
And what I do is I stand outside on the grass, I take my shoes off,
Hmm.
and I connect to the earth, and I connect to God, and I run my energy through into the earth and just expel anything negative. And then I step out away from myself. I step away from my own ego. I leave Shannon behind and I step into Christ's consciousness.
Hmm.
And then I'm ready.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It just says I've gone off lines. I don't know if you can still hear me. It's just said my thing just because I got
Oh,
heavy
I
rain.
can hear you.
You
I
can
can
right.
hear you.
Okay, I'm still
I
here. And it
can hear you.
just popped up then on the screen. He said, "Oh, you're offline." He said, "Oh no, not now."
Yeah. Where did we leave off?
Yeah. Right. Okay. I was going to say then. Oh, that distracted me there. So my internet connection's been
Okay.
restored. There we are. Oh, I was going to say something. It's gone.
Where did we leave? What did you last hear?
When did I last what? Yeah, I heard you the whole time. You didn't go at all.
Oh, okay.
But somehow
Okay.
the internet went off and came back on, and we didn't lose connection
Oh,
at all. Somehow I don't know how that worked out. But I was going to ask you
okay.
something, and it's gone. I got distracted by that.
Oh, so sorry.
Um,
Well, that's spirit. That could be spirit too. I don't know if that is over there, but yeah, that happens a lot.
right. Um, I just it's just come to me now. There's a person I interviewed her, and I was in another interview with her. Asked her questions. I'll probably speak to you off camera about it, but I really think if it feels it's in your path to do it, that you could help her a lot. There's something about a situation she's got. I really think you could help her, but I'll speak to you
Yes.
about it off camera, not to go into use your time up on here now. But I'll speak to you about that
Okay.
again.
Hmm.
Funny, that's one of the themes I've found over the few interviews I've done is about the spirituality factor being in families. It seems to run in like grandparents, aunties, daughters, sons. I've seen that a lot. It seems to be a common pattern, even in my own family, because two of my sons are healers. My mother was a fortune teller. Um, my one of my I had severe neuralgia on my face, and my son, who was only about 4, he came up to me, he said, "I'll make it better, Dad." He said, "Well, rub his hand on my face." Within 5 minutes, it was totally gone. It never came back. Really
That's
gone.
amazing.
So, makes you think,
Yeah. Well, it does run through families.
Yeah,
The same, the same as whatever curses we're passing down.
yeah,
Now, I'm not a religious person,
no, no me.
um, but so I'm just clarifying that because of the words I'm using.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough.
But
No, I'm the
okay,
same.
but there are curses that we do pass on, and it does speak about it in the Bible. Now, I
All
can't
right.
tell you exactly which verses,
Yeah,
um, but we do pass things out down for generations.
yeah.
And one thing I learned, I actually took a Qigong class 4 years ago,
All right.
and it was spectacular. And the spiritual activity there was intense. And because they're excited that we're learning about uh, this, like getting rid of these, well, facing our shadows, basically. These current words that this generation's using is shadow work, right?
Hmm.
But there are family curses that we pass down. Now, one of those family curses that we could pass down is very simple, and it's lack of self-confidence. It may seem simple to someone else, just thinking about it, but it isn't. It is a
Hmm.
huge detriment to the soul.
Hmm.
And this is something that we as families work on. So that's just an example. And so we don't have to, we get to choose. So we all keep coming through generation to generation. Some of us come back, but we get to face that. And when we see it and recognize it, it is our time to disperse of it and to forgive it. And
Hmm.
when that happens, it affects 7 generations back and 7 generations forward in a very positive way. It's almost like cleaning up the generational lines.
Yeah.
And that's what God wants us to do today. All the things that are happening in the world right now,
Hmm.
that was a huge download for me uh, a couple of months ago. Um, and I'll tell you about that. But back to the spiritual aspect of mediumship, that too runs down through families, and you can
Yeah.
make it stronger or weaker.
Right.
We all get to choose through free will. We get to choose through free will. But can I tell you this experience, how I figured that one out?
Yeah.
Okay,
I was gonna get a
okay.
drink. My voice is going.
Yeah, you do that. I might ask my husband to get me a coffee.
Hmm.
But anyways, I was out meditating in the hot tub. We bought 30 acres after our daughter passed away. And I will tell you how she passed away. So it
Mm.
was so devastating. So
Yeah.
our daughter was very gifted, and I gotta say, I feel like a lot of gifted young people, the generation that has come through, the Gen X's and the ones after that,
Yeah.
they're very enlightened. A lot of them are. It may not seem like it,
Mm.
but a lot of them are, and they're coming armed for what we're headed towards. And but they're being sought after. They're being attacked. I just know it. I just know it. And
Mm.
I'm not a negative person, but I know what I see.
Yeah.
And a lot of us want to put our heads in the sand and pretend like nothing is happening. Like none of this BS is happening. I'm not trying to get political over here, but there's a
Yeah.
lot of terrible things happening. And it's harder without the right training for sensitive human beings. Without the right training, they're going to have a really tough time. My dad was a healer. He actually healed one of my cousins. She was a diabetic. She ate a hot dog and just went downhill from there. It was a bad hot dog. It was poisoned. It was a
Go on.
food poisoning.
Yeah.
She was 21 years old, ended up in the hospital, all her organs failing. My
God.
dad walked in. He has or eight brothers and sisters. Walked in, they were all praying and preparing for her death, and he got mad at them and said, "How dare you? How dare you pronounce death on this young lady?" And he walked in there and laid his hands on her and healed every single organ back to life.
Wow.
She was on
Yeah.
her life support the next
Yeah.
day. But back to so that generation, I'm talking about generations. It's the art has been lost. I feel
Mm.
like the art has been lost on purpose. I feel like there are groups in the world, I won't say who they are, but there are many groups who want to keep these things secret, and rightfully so, because human beings, if we could use these gifts, which are rightfully ours, we're not, you and I, we're one. Like we're one. Everybody around us is one, and we
Yeah.
all have these abilities, John.
Mm.
But they're stronger in some families because we pass them on. But we need to strengthen our children and we need to teach them. And when my kids were younger, I taught them meditation. I taught them about hands-on healing. Was I perfect at it? No, I wasn't.
Mm.
Did I teach them about speaking to spirit guides? Yes. Did I always follow it? No. Life gets busy, but we need to be stronger than that.
Mm.
And so my daughter ended up she had bipolar disorder. That also runs through the family.
Right.
And I didn't know. She was my very first child, and I had no clue. I just thought she was a grouchy kid. It
Yeah.
started to show itself at 17. And she was either happy or just stomping around the house.
Right.
But she was a straight A student. She was, a track star. She took third in state for the long jump in Arizona here in America.
Mm.
And she played basketball all 4 years. And she used to do everybody's homework. People would pay her to do her homework. She had some funny, she was so funny. Loved to dance, loved to sing, so smart.
Mm.
But she ended up getting into Adderall. So the kids were passing around Adderall at school.
Yeah.
And it's it's a it's a drug to help you with ADHD, but it has methamphetamine in it.
Right.
And so she was taking that to stay up to push herself to do all these things. I had no idea. I had
Yeah.
no idea. I look back on that, I think, geez, what a stupid parent. But just because you're, a psychic or a medium doesn't
Yeah.
mean you know everything.
Of
And
course not. No.
I've realized that that was one of her lessons too, and mine, to put us through the ringer like that. But long story short, we went through a long battle with her. She was good, she wasn't good. But for 8 years we fought for her with addiction,
Yeah.
and it wasn't straight 3 years. or I mean 8 years. Only 3 years out of that 8 years sporadically added up is when she was really fighting her issue. But her boyfriend ended up giving her an illicit, which is a street thing.
Yeah.
It's an illicit pill with the markings of Percocet on it.
Right.
She had had a rollover accident 18 months prior and almost died and had a near-death experience to come back and tell me about.
Yeah.
But he gave her that pill and it had pure fentanyl and it killed her in under 8 minutes. And so, as you've noticed, we've been friends for a few years now. I've really been riling and upset, and I've really been an advocate for spreading awareness about fentanyl. It's not
Yeah.
just here in America, it's all over all over the world now. Um, and it's very dangerous. You can't mess around anymore. No more, no more. But I was in the hot tub one morning, just meditating and just asking questions. And Gabby literally came through to me and she said, Mom, the scripture, remember the scripture, the hearts of the men or the hearts of the fathers will turn to the sons and the sons of the father or the hearts of the sons will turn to the fathers.
Yeah.
This is God is using this fentanyl crisis to bring awareness to families, to wake
Yeah.
them up, that they will look each other in the faces for all of the family curses that they're passing down. And
Uh-huh.
let me tell you, when you lose a child like that, you look in the mirror. And if you're not looking in the mirror, then you're asleep. So it is really important right now for us to change whatever we are passing down that we don't even realize. And if you don't realize what you're passing through your family line, just look at how your kids are behaving, or
Mm.
look at maybe some of the stumbling blocks that we've had in our personal life. So the spirit world really wants to help us right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, that's a lot.
Huh?
I hope that's okay.
Yeah. Cool. No, I was just like transfixed by the story. I just sort of like was like, whoa, you know. Um.
Yeah, and so when I mentioned in the very beginning about being shown a baby,
Yeah.
that was the baby. And I have I've been writing a book. I've got
Right.
9 chapters fully finished and 3 chapters unfinished that I need to go through and fix. But yeah, it's about not just about this crisis, but about everything else.
Yeah. Okay. Just
Everything
I'm have
else.
to
Almost
get that
done.
when you finish it. To
Yeah,
read
I'll
that when
send
you
you
finish
one.
it. It'll take me probably several years to read it because I'm terrible at reading, but I will finish it. You know.
Oh, you put it on play.
Oh,
I
I
know.
go
I'm
yeah,
terrible about
audiobook.
reading too.
I never thought about that. Yeah, that's an idea. Well, I had something I should write it down. I had something I was going to ask you, and it's gone again. It's the end of the week. So, what was I going to say to you? Oh God, it's gone. Anything you want to share while I'm trying to remember what I was going to ask you?
Yeah, yeah. Look up to your left and look back at me.
My left, oh, my left is this center.
Yeah,
Right,
don't follow
okay,
me.
okay.
That's supposed to be a memory recall motion.
Oh, is it? All right.
Yeah, yeah, it is. It is. So let me maybe I can share um something that happened early on in my years of learning.
Hmm.
So I was taught by my angels.
Yeah,
And this started to happen when I left the church. So I want you to stop me when you get your memory back. When you
that's
have a
fine.
question,
I will.
I want you
I'll
to
be
I
like
want you
this.
to
Like
stop
it
me.
is. It's there. I
Yep,
haven't got it
do
yet,
that.
but if I do, I'll do that.
Okay. So I started to work with crystals. I had a man that lived next door to me, and at this time I was pregnant with my
Yeah.
third baby. I was not even 3 months along, and I remember standing at the kitchen counter doing the dishes, and I felt the baby leave me. It was tragic. Ugh. Like I felt the baby leave, and sure enough, the baby did. I had a
Oh,
miscarriage, but my body would not dispel of the baby, and so I did everything, and they wouldn't. The doctors wanted me to do this naturally, so anyway, I was still pregnant, but the baby wasn't alive,
yeah.
and the neighbor of mine. He had actually passed away. He was 75 years old, and he had a near-death experience and came back. And that man had a portal on his house, literally. And he would tell me about it. He'd see bears and tigers going through, like
God.
spirit world, you know,
Yeah.
all kinds of stuff. And but he had a crystal shop, and I was just so drawn to all those crystals. I mean, I should have a crystal shop. I just collect crystals because I could just live in them.
Hmm.
But I was just, admiring his crystals, and he invited me over one day and asked me if I wanted to be part of this healing session that his friend was doing. His friend, I can't remember his name. His first name was Paul. But anyway, he was a famous healer. Long story short, I was watching these healings, and then this guy says, "Okay, your turn. You need to. Will you work on me?" And I said, "Well, I don't know what I'm doing." And he said, "Yeah, you do. You just trust yourself." So he
Yeah.
gets on the table, and I couldn't believe it. It was full blast, full blast. I literally could see what was going on with him, energetic wise, physical
Oh.
wise. The spirits were coming through. So after that, I started practicing. Do you have a question?
I did have. It's gone again. uh, Healing. There was something else about healing. It was. I know it was about healing. Yeah, I was just gonna. It's not a question. I was just gonna say, with me with healing, I started off hands on. I was very
Hmm.
successful, but now it's more remote. And like there was a guy the other day who had suffered as PSD after being in the army, and he has panic attacks and stuff. So I messaged him on Facebook. I said, look, I said, I'm a healer. I said, I don't. It's not public knowledge because I don't tell many people. I said, but if you want me to help you, let me know. And he said, no, no, I'm fine. He said, I've been living here for years. I'll be fine. I said, that's fine. Didn't see him, but I didn't. So I didn't do no more. I never tried to help him. I left it at that. He said, no, no. I said, that's fine. A week later, he said to me, I don't know what you did, he said, but for the moment I answered your message, I felt so much at peace. And I said, well, I didn't try to help you, I said, but I know sometimes I subconsciously help people. I could feel myself help. I'd be standing next to someone in a school, at the school once, standing next to this person I didn't know from Adam, and I could feel something coming from me, and I was helping them. And I don't know what I did. To this
Oh,
day, I don't know
that's
what I did.
so amazing.
Yeah, but I prefer it that way because I can do hands-on, and that's how I
Hmm.
started. Because I started
Hmm.
when I was very young. I healed my dog.
That's
He had a bad
awesome.
eye, and I healed him. And it freaked me out so much I didn't heal them for like. This is the bit that I was going to say. This is what you said. I didn't heal for like over 20 years. But when
Hmm.
my son now was, he's about 3 months old. He had very bad acid reflux. He's bringing up all his milk,
Hmm.
and we took him to a local healer. He's now become my mentor, so to speak. As soon as he was there with him, he said, "Who's the healer in the room?" He said, and I was looking at my partner, and I knew it was me. He knew it was me. He told me, and I said, "Well, I have done it." I said, "But I sort of stopped." And he said, "No,
Hmm.
you're going to start again." He said, "You're the." And he healed my son. My son never had acid reflux again ever, and he was young. He
That's
healed him totally.
amazing.
Within half an hour, I'm sort of looking at him, smiling at him, and he was no discomfort again. He's an amazing guy. I don't know how he actually got the award, but he was number one healer in Britain somehow. I don't know how he got that award,
Oh, that's
but he did actually have an
awesome.
award for it. Yeah, but he is very, very, very gifted, very talented, and he's helped me loads over the years, Vice and
That's
stuff.
amazing. What a
Yeah,
beautiful experience.
yeah.
That's amazing.
And remotely wise, I try to help him give up smoking. And he
Uh-huh.
said, I said, first of all, I try to help him. I said, I'm being pushed away from you. I said, I'm trying to help. I'm being pushed away. He said, right, try again. He said, this time say you're there to help. I said, okay, I'll try.
Hmm.
Again, remotely, tried. this time I got to him. I could see it,
Hmm.
like a I suppose like a giant worm stuck to his brain. As it was like a big thorn or something. Something black was attached to it. And I tried to help. And he said, you know, the next day he said, after you tried to help me, I didn't know you'd help me. He said, but I knew it. I picked up my fag. He said, do I really want to smoke this and put it out? But he did go back to it because out of habit. But he'd never. But he's now given up fully. He's now has given up.
Good. Good for him.
Yeah,
Good.
but
That's awesome.
he's gone huge mind now. He's been eating more to compensate, but he's not smoking no more. Thank God, you know.
That's great.
I
So
actually
do you think that, I mean, in my experience, have you experienced that people want to have that healing, or have you
yeah.
experienced people that say they want to be healed and then they really don't, or
Um
that their souls are learning something
yeah.
and they're, yeah, that you can't break through?
Happened with a lady who's a moderator on my YouTube channel. It helped me loads when my channel took off. It's real big help for me. She had kidney cancer, so I tried to
Hmm.
help her. Back in the days when I was focusing a lot, I was everywhere back then, and I could see her. I could focus in on her, try to focus on her kidneys, try to focus on it, and all of a sudden, whoosh, push away. You're not meant to be here. And I couldn't heal
Hmm.
no one for 2 3 weeks after. I couldn't do a thing,
Wow.
and uh, and it just made obvious to me I wasn't meant to help her because she was on her own life path, and which
Hmm.
may be meant to be that she had that illness, you know. But then she had it. She was really had a spell of bad depression, so I offered to help her with that, and she said yes, if you can, she'll be brilliant. So the next day I tried. Next day she said, I don't know what you've done. She said, I feel so much better today, and there we go. That I was allowed to help with, but the
Awesome.
main health reason which she had, I couldn't help with, you know.
Yeah.
But say now, I don't heal. Well, what happened to me? I was healing a lot of people, and I built like this cocoon. All the people I helped, I built a cocoon around them, around myself and them. That's what it seems like in my mind.
Hmm.
And then something happened which I'm not going to say on camera. I can tell you off camera. I won't say on camera what it is, but affected it and broke my cocoon. It was sort of good news,
Hmm.
but it sort of broke it. And then I got COVID. Didn't have it that bad, but because I had COVID, it was like I was thinking to myself, "Hang on a minute, I'm helping all these people, and here I am being ill like this." I felt like I was rejected, like so to speak. But I know now why it happened because my ego was starting to get built up from healing everyone,
Oh,
and that's why I was
yeah.
at put ground zero. You've got to ground yourself, and because of that though, I didn't heal for a year and a half after again. And then I started to, and it was totally different again. It was on another level now. It's totally another
Hmm.
level to what it was because I've grown. It's grown, in a sense.
Right.
And
Right.
I've gone offline again. So if you lose connection, it's the weather affecting us. Me over here. It's a really bad storm over here. It is.
Mm.
Yeah. So now I would say it's different, and it's much stronger. But yet, like the people close to me, I can't help them no more. Like I used to be able to help my son and his mother really a lot. Now I can't so much. But um, I know though I feel like nothing ever bad happens to them because I am protecting them still, but I'm not allowed to sort of heal them like the small things I was able to heal them for in the past. Just not allowed to enough for whatever reason. So
Well, I think that has a lot to do with free will
yeah,
because we all have free will. And I remember a time where, and this is connected to what we're talking about.
yeah,
When when I was laying in bed, I had a bad spinal tap. And when you have a bad spinal tap, boy, you
mm,
get these massive headaches, right? And I didn't realize that's what was happening to
all
me.
right,
And I could not turn the light on. Every time I got up, my head felt like somebody was smacking my head with a jackhammer.
right,
So I laid there thinking, oh, I'm gonna get through this. I did that for about 5 days till finally I had to go to the hospital and get a blood patch.
yeah,
But during that time, my daughter was in Utah and she was preparing for a mission. and I could see that she had gone manic. Like a mother knows, like you can see it in
Oh,
their eye. My spirit was telling me this.
yeah.
And so I started praying really hard, and I was like also thinking about all the ways that I could influence my daughter
Mm,
because I knew she wasn't going to go on that mission. I just knew it. And I knew that that would have saved her life had she gone,
mm,
what she needed. And so I was sitting there thinking about all the ways I was going to influence her. And I always did, eventually bring her around. I've
mm,
always been her rock, right?
yeah.
But all of a sudden, the room just filled up with spirits. And now, when I was younger, in my early 20s, I could see them with my eyes open. And that was the first time I ever saw them. They filled my room because they were so excited that I was channeling
Yeah.
that they were like, "Hey, we're here to teach you all
Mm,
night." I said, "No, I don't want to see you.
mm,
Like, you're scaring me." And so I just asked God that, hey, listen, I'm not ready for that gift yet, you know. So, so the way I see spirits is I'm a mental medium.
yeah.
Sometimes, rare, super rare occasion, I might see them with my eyes open, but I'm a mental medium and I see
Right.
them that way. So that day, I was laying in bed and the room just filled. Every time I closed my eyes, I first of all sensed them with my eyes open. And I
Mm,
was like, what is that? And I closed my eyes, and the whole room was filled with spirits. And they gathered around the bed. And this man that had a widow's peak, you know what a widow's peak is in your hair? So it's
no.
a hairline. It's a hairline that goes like bald up here and kind of hair this way and bald here.
All right. I think so.
And he
Yeah.
was looking down, and the Smith line, the grandfathers had this huge, like these big noses, right? And he was
Yeah.
looking down like this, and he was holding the Book of Mormon like this. And I saw my dad walk in, and my grandfather started slamming his fist on that Book of Mormon and started like, um, I didn't know who he was at first, but he was like telling me this verse in there about free will
Mm,
and like waving his finger at me and saying, "You will not. She has to choose."
oh yeah.
And it took me a minute, and I was like, who do you think you are?" And then I realized who it was because he died when I was a baby.
Yeah.
He actually fell off a cliff in the Grand Canyon
Oh no.
when I was a baby. Yeah. But anyway, my dad was standing next to him, and he had passed away, I think, 2 years prior to that experience. And my dad was standing next to him. And then all of a sudden, this little girl with dark hair comes running in. She's got a flurry dress. She looks like she's about 3 years old. And my dad picks her up and just starts whirling her around and just comforting her, loving her, just comforting her. And
Yeah.
when it was all over, I realized that that little girl was me. So they were doing two things, John. They were
Yeah.
telling me, you are not allowed you have free will. That's kind of that's evil. We're not supposed to do that. We don't
Yeah.
realize that as human beings. Like we want to help people. We want
Yeah.
to, with our own families, we want to push and say, you're going to do this because this is good for you. But we don't realize that they're our brother and our sister, our child, my sister, my daughter is my sister, right?
Mm,
Like we're all one when we get to heaven,
yeah.
you know? And we don't realize that. I think, this is also where our ego takes over as a parent.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so it's harder to not cross lines with family members, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. So I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah. Because it started. I have said this on camera before. Maybe you wouldn't have seen it though, but my partner came home from work. She was a sort of person that works herself into the ground. She shouldn't do it, but she does. She came home from work. She had a temperature of 39 degrees. I think it's. I don't know what. I think you have different. You've got Fahrenheit. No, I don't know. Centigrade is it? I think it's Fahrenheit. Is it with you? I'm not sure. We have one or the other. 39 degrees anyway. It was. The temperature was, and
Hmm.
my son's trying to talk to me now, and her throat was closing up. So something told me to to hug her. In Wales, we call it cwtch, is the Welsh name for hug, right? So I went and my arms around her. Within 10 minutes, her temperature was down to 37, and her throat was totally fine. She was eating. So fine. Just 10 minutes. That's the first time it happened. When I started my healing Mark 2, then, as I call it. And then my son, then a week or so after, had a temperature of 39. He was quite high. And again, I just said, oh, my hand and said, oh, so it'll be all right. It'll be fine. He ran to the bathroom, was sick. Checked his temperature again, normal. It's fine, totally fine. And that's how it started. How I started my healing. After my son was healed, that's how I started, and it went from there. Then help
That's
people.
amazing.
Yeah, help people with COVID and all sorts of stuff. People bedridden. One lady messaged me. Was bedridden for about a week. I tried to help her. She messaged me the next day. She said, I don't know what you did. She said, but I was up 12:30 last night hoovering. She said, you know, she had so much energy, because that's what I feel I do. I don't know what this type of healing is my energy is like a boost. So everyone's got their own, you know, everyone can self-heal. Everyone's got their own, but it's like my energy boosts with their energy, and it helps them, like, you know, heal. And that's what I
You
interpret
have a
it.
lot of faith. That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah,
You just know it, right? You
yeah.
know it.
No, it's
You
but
don't second guess.
yeah,
It's there. It's there for the taking if somebody has enough faith to believe that they could be healed, right?
yeah. Oh, true. Yeah, definitely. I'm the same as
Mm-hmm.
yourself. I'm not religious. I probably got opened up to um, spiritual stuff by joining a religion years ago. But
Mm-hmm.
I was in it for about a year, and I went really, really deep into it. I went deep into myself in the religion, but I found
Mm-hmm.
myself as well. But I was, by the end, I was like hallucinating. I was seeing like demons,
Mm-hmm.
angels in people. I was seeing all sorts
Yeah.
of stuff. You know that. There we are. And
Oh, I would love to talk to you. Off
and
camera, we should have a conversation.
yeah, yeah, for sure. And after that, though, and then I came out of that, and I was seeing all stuff for the future. I'm seeing events that has happened already, stuff that hasn't
Mm-hmm.
happened, and wrote songs. I became a song. I was in a band a few years after. I'm a guitar player anyway. I wrote songs all about the end of the world, and I was like, "What the hell?" I crumpled them up, threw them all away. It was like quite all sorts of stuff that happened. Then it just went from there. Ah, so there we go. And then
That's incredible.
I got compelled to create my YouTube channel. I got compelled
Yeah.
after that was the
Okay.
calling. That was
Yeah.
I had a what it was. I had the idea in my head to do it, and then I'd go to bed at night, and it was like a light bulb switched on in my head. It would not go away, showing me making
Mm-hmm.
videos. I kept showing.
Mm-hmm.
It was going on for a month. I had this, and I thought to myself one night this has happened. I said, right, if I learn how to make these videos, then I'll do it. And I instant calm, slept like a log that night. Oh, nice one. Then my son comes up to see me, and little known to me, he was a YouTuber, and he told me this, and he showed me how to make the videos, and it all went from there, and that's how it all
Oh,
started.
that's awesome.
But this thing, like with in this thing, like talking with you now and other people and stuff, that is, I've been guided to do that for sure. That is
Well,
100%.
I appreciate you having me on. And
Yeah.
I was just praying about that, just not about this situation in particularly, but I was just asking God, like, all right, I'm ready. Let's do this,
Hmm.
you know. And you messaged me, and I had some other things happen too as of recent.
I'm all right.
So
Yeah.
it's really neat. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. No, it's
And it's
great.
nice to get to know you better.
Yeah. And you, yeah. It's funny enough. I On Monday when you messaged me back when I messaged you, I was going through a day thinking, like, everything's set up now, ready to do it, and I had no one to interview. And I thought, well, to myself, you're telling me you want me to do this, but yeah, I've got no one to talk to. And lo and behold, as I thought that, I drove to the school, and your message came through about wanting to do it. So there we go. And I interviewed three people this week. They've all come afterwards this week alone. It's just
Yeah.
happened. It just makes you
Yeah,
think, doesn't it?
yeah, that's awesome.
Mm.
Well, the world needs to know that we're strong,
Yeah,
right? That as human beings, we're strong,
yeah,
and we need to build that up, I think.
yeah.
And
Need to be
it's
light in the dark.
yeah, yeah, to not be in the dark anymore.
Yeah,
We're here to help each other, and we just need to do it and not be afraid of stepping out, right?
yeah. That's right. Yeah.
Hmm.
There
Yeah.
we are. I better shoot. I gotta go get my son from school.
Okay, perfect. Well, it was really nice. It
Yeah,
was
and
really nice.
hopefully maybe we could talk again another time if that's okay. If you,
Oh, absolutely.
yeah,
I have a lot of
yeah, yeah.
experiences.
Same with
It's
me.
kind of
Yeah,
crazy. I'm sure you do too.
yeah.
Okay. All
Okay.
right.
I'll
Have
speak
a
soon
blessed
then.
day.
And you.
All
Bye
right.
now.
Bye-bye.